With Quick, we know that you guys have more options, more leads, and more listings. What is important with QuickBuy is that these are all your. And again, if anyone hasn't muted, please feel free to mute just so that everyone can hear all of the presentation. With these additional options and being able to market them correctly, that is going to help translate to those more options, more leads, and more listings. But what's so important about that is when you don't market these kind of options, you're leaving out the opportunity to work with a seller that wanted to know what those options look like. So what we're going to go through today with the presentation is a little bit of the why of QuickBuy, the QuickBuy offer, and then we're going to wrap up with marketing and agent award and some other things that we assist you with your success of the program, but benefits we give to you when the program is used and when sellers accept QuickBuy options. So you guys know, because you are a QuickBuy trained agent, what these kind of solutions mean, what they look like. I am just going to do a very brief overview of these because you're all very versed in them. So when you have 4 different solutions when you go on a listing presentation, that is the key to securing a much larger pool of sellers with the number of options that you have. Whether it be traditional listing, which you and we all know that is going to be the bulk of what most sellers elect when they're looking at their options. But more importantly, you're offering QuickBuy cash immediate offer for sellers that need a fast closing, that want that kind of option. QuickBuy lot guarantee tail, which you can think of as the selling with assurance, so that any seller that is nervous about listing right now, before they list, locking in a backup cash option just in case they need to save it. And then QuickBuy leaseback, so that if you have a seller that likes the idea of this cash fast closing, but they need to stay in their home after that while they're finalizing and figuring out their next steps with you, those additional 3 options with traditional listing, that is the key for you to overcome any obstacle that your sellers may be in to not selling their home traditionally. So you guys know why these kind of options are there. I think you're all very comfortable with it at this point. But what is interesting, despite the fact that real estate was so great this year and that it was at the heart, probably the best sellers market we've seen in a long time, we still had a very high acceptance rate of QuickBuy options with sellers that were interested in what that option could do for them. Now, our habits have changed, and the reason that sellers like having these kind of options as real estate is because their habits have changed in every way that they interact, whether they're selling something or buying something, especially this year. The percentage rate of accepted offers with home sale agents is so high. It was one of our highest percentages of any of our partners in the US. And that's simply because it's not about qualifying a home, but thinking about the seller and their needs and what their needs look like. And their needs have very definitely changed in the last few years. They continue to change, but what's interesting is that more and more sellers are looking at these options before they decide on that final path on what is best to sell their home. They want to be part of that decision-making process, even if they don't have the knowledge that you and I have in real estate. And that is really the key. Sellers like having options. They like having it in real estate. What I want you guys to know, okay, so almost 80% of sellers want to know their home's iBuy value, but what does that translate to for you? It still translates to 100% of listing opportunities for you with the QuickBuy options that you are offering to sellers. That's really the key here, is that when you don't offer these kind of options, the sellers have the potential to look outside of their trusted home sale agent to see if another option may be more appealing to them. It's not so much about you losing an option to where a seller may have elected QuickBuy. It's about you losing a listing opportunity for a seller that investigates a different option with a competitor, doesn't end up taking it, but ends up listing with that competitor because they gave them the opportunity to see what their options were like. So the reason that this has continued to grow, even this year with the crazy market that we had, it simply is because sellers choose the cost and convenience over home sale hassles when they understand what is entailed with their home sale. And I'm going to go through some numbers here. These numbers were taken from an OfferPad survey earlier this year. Sellers that had been listed that didn't realize a lot of the different things after their listing, their closing, to where they may have been more interested in some other solution as opposed to traditional listing. Now, 76% of sellers ended up spending more money preparing their home for the sale than they wanted or expected. I'm sure you guys are dealing with sellers right now that didn't realize how much that painting would cost, how much that new flooring would cost. And a lot of them don't realize it until they start looking at those kind of options. But when you go out and talk to sellers on listing presentations, all these things that we go out over here on this slide, it's really going to help you say, you know, with a seller, why would I want to look at a cash option? Well, these are some of the reasons you'd want to. 50% of sellers spent between $2,500 and $7,500 in market-ready costs. Now, for some of us, that might not be a lot of money, but for a lot of sellers out there, that is a lot of money to spend just to get your home ready for the market. 63% considered taking their home off the market because preparing for showings and open houses was tedious. Most of those issues were found among sellers, and this is going to be no surprise to you guys, that had pets and family members, i.e. small family members. So imagine it's not just about the amount of money you spend getting your home ready for the market, the amount of time it takes spending it, but also making sure that once you put all those things in place, spent all that money, I have to make sure that everyone is out of the house every single time there is a showing or an open house, and ensuring that everything in the house looks spectacular for those buyers out there. So that explains why 52% of sellers said they'd accept less for their home in order to avoid the time and energy of preparing for those open houses, for those showings, for everything else that entails. And 42% said they'd be willing to sacrifice at least 5% of their home sale if they didn't have to prepare it for the market. Those are very, very compelling numbers. In your conversations with sellers, I really want, and QuickBuy really wants you guys to feel confident mentioning and talking about the additional options you have. It is in that conversation with the seller, it is in that discovery that you are able to solidify your role as a local expert, but also solidify your role as a local expert with creative solutions that your consumers have said year after year now they like having. What are those discovery questions that you might ask a seller? This is really key in establishing that trust feature that we all want to establish initially with sellers. Have you let your sellers know that you have multiple options to sell their home? You guys are the local experts. Your sellers want you to offer them all the options that you have. Thinking about when you talk to a seller, what is their motivation for their sale? So getting to the heart of the matter as to why they really want to sell. We know for a lot of sellers out there, it's going to be that money, the net that they're getting from their sale, but you can't assume that that is every seller's number one motive. Number two, what is a seller's needs with the move? This helps get to the heart of the matter of, have they looked at a new home yet? Have they decided on a neighborhood? Do they need time in their current home after the sale in order to buy that new home? And do they have any concerns with their sale or their timeline? And this is going to come up a lot now because we know that a lot of sellers are getting a little nervous with the mortgage rates out there. So do they have concerns with a timeline on the sale? And would some other options really be the solution to an issue in their life? So when you don't have seller discovery, that's where it can potentially turn into a lost listing. And that's what we don't want you guys to have. When you don't offer all the sales options, it truly does leave the door open for that seller to investigate them with another agent, with another office. Market leaders in every area of the country continue to stay relevant by evolving with the options that consumers want. And that's why you guys have QuickBuy. Almost 80% of those sellers want to know their iBuy value. Your competitors are already reaching out to your sellers with more options multiple times a week to see if they're interested in investigating them with them. Your sellers would rather review the options that you bring them than navigate the process by themselves or talk to someone that isn't considered a market leader in their area. So in talking about conversation with your sellers, How do you bring up these kind of things in a listing presentation? What kind of conversation starters are the simplest way to talk about these additional options that you have? It can be as simple as this first one, and this is going to point directly with everything that's happening right now in the mortgage market. With all the uncertainty in the real estate market, have you considered an immediate cash offer? Okay, let's think about that. Your sellers are seeing what's going on out there right now. They're getting nervous, thinking that there may not be as many buyers in the marketplace as there used to be. A cash option takes a lot of stress away from a seller, worrying about if there's going to be that offer that comes in so that they can move on to whatever is more important, whether it be that next purchase. Another way to start a conversation with a seller. Are you interested in hearing about a cash offer for your home that allows you to close on your sale in 14 business days, but also helps make you a stronger buyer on your next purchase? So we all know that all of our sellers are buying a home almost at the same time. So they're nervous about a lot of things right now with what's going on. They're not just nervous about selling their home and doing that quickly and having a guaranteed offer, but they're also worried about being a strong buyer on their next purchase. So having a cash option gives them a lot of security on their sale and gives them a lot of security in their next purchase too. Tell me about any concerns you have when it comes to listing and selling your home. There is more than one way to sell a home today, and my brokerage has options that no one else has. Again, not just utilizing these solutions to offer more options to your sellers, but showing your sellers that their home sale agent is the key to investigating these options, setting yourself apart from the competition with these options. That helps solidify the security that that seller has with you as their listing agent. So looking at QuickBuy Lock, how can you use conversation starters to talk about QuickBuy Lock with your seller? I can request a cash offer now, and we can go ahead and list your home for more money and lock that offer in before we list for 100% assurance. Either situation, you'll be certain of a sale. Now with QuickBuy Lock, that allows the seller to lock that offer in before they list with you and to keep it as a backup for a small 1% fee, just in case they want to take that cash option with all of the fees at some point later in that listing. It locks the offer in for 150 days. So imagine you have a seller list right now in November. If they had to take the cash option in April, 150 days at the end of their listing, they could do that. That is a very compelling, very strong offer to make to a seller. We can list your home and also secure a backup offer to put you in a better negotiating position for your next purchase. So when your seller locks the cash offer in ahead of time and they list with you, you could potentially tell any seller or any agent and their buyer that your seller has a cash offer they can sign at any time. That increases the best offer that agents bring you and your seller while you're listed and the offer being locked in. That is key to increasing a seller's net by having this extra negotiating piece that you can tell agents and their buyers about. We can list your home and obtain a backup offer, giving you the security of an offer in hand for up to 150 days. Would you like to hear more? Or it could just be as simple as, I can get you a cash option that you could lock ahead of time, you don't have to take, but makes you a very strong seller. Do you want to see what that looks like? QuickBuy Leaseback is that additional option that really gives a lot of sellers convenience and peace of mind in being able to close on the sale to QuickBuy, but being able to stay in the home after the sale, whether it be a short or long-term option, to make their next steps with you on their next purchase as smooth and as stress-free as possible. Would it help if you could get the proceeds from your sale, but have flexibility to stay in the home while you wait for that right home to purchase with me? And again, you want to reinforce with sellers, hey, you're working with me on your purchase. I am able to help navigate this option for you, and I can help negotiate everything with your purchase, with the purchase that you want to make with me, because I know what's going on with this transaction. Seller, are you looking at homes that need updating, but don't want to move into the home before the work is complete? There's lots of sellers out there that don't mind moving to a home that needs updating, but there are so many that have kids, that have pets, that have maybe family members that can't do that. But they still need to close on the sale of their home so they can be that strong buyer in their purchase transaction. The leaseback option gives a lot of sellers just the flexibility that they need, but keeps them as that strong buyer because they've closed on the sale to us and they have their sale proceeds. So we have one new step here that I'm not sure if you guys have heard of yet, but when you get the quick buy offer to take out and to deliver to the seller, we want you guys to feel as confident as possible. We have someone that's been on our team most of this year, Paula Fortier. She is my coworker. She has been in real estate over 45 years, and she was a broker for 3 decades. She is going to be emailing the offer to you and reaching out to you before you deliver that to the seller, so that if you have any questions about the fees, if you anticipate the seller may have questions about something in the contract, she is there to answer those questions for you. Not just so that you feel prepared if the questions come, but so that you feel confident about the entire process and as knowledgeable as possible, because we all know when we feel confident about something, we're more apt to talk about it more often. So when you get the offer, there's a few things that I would like you guys to kind of remember, some best tips here in understanding that. You are delivering facts so that the seller can make an informed decision. It's so important at this point that there's going to be a lot of sellers out there that see this as the answer to some problem in their life. But as an agent, we are very likely to not understand why they would want to leave some additional money on the table. But there's all these things that happen in a seller's life that we don't always know about, to where the highest net possible is not their number one concern. Things that you're able to remind the seller. Number one, they get to compare options as a potential solution. And there's no obligation or no fee for them to review these options. That is very important, that you are able to get these options for them, but there's also no cost to the seller to look at them. The closing costs that we deliver are going to be just estimates at that time, just so you guys know. And I know that in your area you do net sheets. So that may be something that would be a good thing for you to take when you deliver everything to the seller, just in case it's something that they would be interested in reviewing. The seller is going to want to understand their traditional net sale first. So seller understanding that, number one, you go under contract at $400,000, you're not leaving the closing table with $400,000. And how does that cost of convenience for a cash option play into what a seller would typically net on a traditional sale? Then they review that offer and compare what that cost of convenience is. And understanding then further that the lock option can give them potentially the best of both worlds, not having to take the cash option, but being able to lock and leave it open in case the market or something else in their life changes. And one good thing when you talk about this to sellers, it's just important to say, you know what, the good news is that you have choices. You have choices with me, your home sale agent, and I am bringing you these choices so that you can decide which one of these paths you think is the best to sell your home. One little thing, thinking about how to quick buy offers compare to a traditional sale. So traditional net price in comparison to the quick buy net is typically going to be about a cost of a convenience of 5 to 7%. So whatever your seller would be netting from a traditional sale, they can adjust that by 5 to 7%. And that's what they're likely going to see with a quick buy option. This is the key when you start to talk to a seller a little bit about what a cash option would look like, telling them a little bit about this to see if they are interested to go further and investigate what that cash option looks like once you get it for them. Now, one thing that I like to do for you guys is to show you just a little bit of an example of a sale or a home that's valued at $225,000 what a potential net on a traditional sale may look versus a net on a quick buy option. So let's just say a traditional net on a $225,000 home would be roughly a little over $200,000, taking into account the cost of ownership. So cost of ownership being market ready repairs, carrying costs, mortgage interest, and some seller concessions. With QuickBuy, and all of this is detailed in the contract that the seller would be receiving once they're interested in getting it, you're going to have a QuickBuy program fee, which is a little over $22,000. That's a 90% offer. Commission, which is what you've entered into the app when you submitted everything to the QuickBuy department. Now, this is listed as a resale fee in the QuickBuy contract. That is a fee we are withholding from the seller that will then be paid out to you and your brokerage when you list and sell the home for us. For this property, it resulted in about a little over $13,000. The QuickBuy admin fee, which is another line item in the contract, that's $795. And so that results in a net of about $188,000 to the seller. Now, if at some reason you were willing to charge a 5% commission to the seller versus a 6% commission, that would have resulted in about an 85% net to the seller, and the resale fee would have been reduced to $11,000. Now, and this is all going to be on our program comparison sheet that you would be getting with the QuickBuy offer. That results in about a 5.3% cost of convenience for the cash option in this typical instance right here. So, and that is always going to be detailed when you get something over from the QuickBuy department for an immediate offer. So a few things that I wanted to show you guys that maybe you weren't aware of with regards to QuickBuy marketing. And we also have some agent case studies and ideas that you can use in order to market these options better to your sphere of influence. So let's take this on a big scale. None of us have some of the advertising money that Open Door and a lot of the other national iBuyers have, but this is a very important stat that I want to show you guys. In the first 6 months of this year, Open Door, one of the national iBuyers out there, spent more in advertising in the first half of this year than they did for the entire year of 2021. The results they were able to achieve from that were astonishing. They doubled their sales. So despite this year being on average, on record, one of the highest sales years possible, there were still sellers that saw the opportunity, took the opportunity to leave money on the table for something else that was more important to them. Despite how the market is, whether it be good, whether it be bad, there are always going to be sellers that are interested in these kind of options. And it really is about the situation and sellers' needs as opposed to what's going on in the market. Now, I want to show you guys a couple agents that were very successful at using QuickBuy options, what their technique was, and what it helped them achieve. In the Midwest here, we had an agent that did a 4-week social media post. She used a rotating message. She was able to secure in 4 to 6 weeks' time 10 listings, 2 QuickBuy transactions, which resulted in $3+ million in revenue. So imagine you guys are typically probably a 6% commission. 3% of $3 million sounds like a pretty good yearly net for me. He was able to utilize the marketing without a lot of money simply to advertise these kind of options to sellers, to draw sellers in, not just with the fact that she's a market leader in the area, but with the options that sellers are very interested in investigating. Now, we had a Southwest agent, and she did a postcard campaign. She spent about, I think it was $900 to $1,200 on her very first postcard campaign. She captured this list side of a home. She worked with that seller as a buyer too. And that resulted in $2.5 million worth of revenue that she was able to create commission off of. So imagine just putting the information out there, got someone to call her to investigate it with her. They didn't end up taking the QuickBuy option, but that was the key for her securing that listing, to solidifying the confidence with that seller. Another item that some of our agents use, if you're familiar with either AdWorks or AdWords, that is another interesting way for you to be able to boost on social media a campaign to target specific zip codes that may be zip codes with mature sellers that have a decent amount of equity in their home, or just specific zip codes that maybe haven't seen a lot of turnover in sales in the past few years. That can typically generate about 4 times the views on average, just by being able to target specific zip codes of sellers that are interested in these kind of options. So that Midwest agent, these are some of the images that she used in her social media campaign. No, she did use 4 different messages. And what I would like to kind of reinforce with you guys is that I think it's more important and it is a little more successful when you pick one message that you find resonates strongly with your consumers, with your sphere of influence, and put it on auto repeat. The reason you want to do that and what it's going to result for you is when your consumers start to see that message week after week, it's going to resonate with them, the message, but more importantly, their name, your name, is going to appear in their head. And when they're interested in investigating that option, they're going to call you. That's why it's important to keep a very similar message almost on auto repeat, because if it's successful, why change it? If it's getting you the interest from consumers out there, keep that message the same, because it's going to continue to reinforce the place that you have as a market leader in the area. So with this agent in the Midwest, she was able to target a population of 70,000 within 2 zip codes with AdWords. She had that rotating message. She did 1 message per week for 4 weeks. She also did some Sphere e-cards, which she kind of put on auto repeat for 2 weeks, twice a week that she did. And then she also put some things on her own Facebook page twice a week. So imagine she just pulled some of our pieces off of the agent portal. You guys could pull some pieces off of there, or you could use some of the amazing pieces that marketing has for you guys. Take a couple hours one night, set them up, and just get them ready to put out there. Now, this is a testimonial that we have from the agent. And this is probably something that you guys have probably had some experience with recently too, with regards to QuickBuy. She felt that, QuickBuy really helped open doors for her, literally and figuratively. Sellers wanted to know what their options were, and offering QuickBuy continued to solidify her role as a local expert with those sellers. And again, let's reinforce that. These additional options help solidify her role as a local expert. When real estate changed, it's very important that all of us change too. And your brokerage has these options because they want you to stay as relevant as possible with how real estate out there has started to change. So getting more, and what does that look like with a potential marketing plan that you might put together? So with the type of marketing program, think of different agent ideas that you can use to generate new leads. Think of what your messaging should look like. What you might want to choose with modifiable print and digital materials that you have through the brokerage, as well as different ways to reach out to new people to solicit that new traffic. So these are a number of different agent ideas that you may want to investigate. Pick one from these that you think is going to help you generate new leads. So think about reaching out to potential sellers that may be sitting on the fence. If any of you have spoken to a seller, done a listing presentation, and they're not listed yet, do not lose that potential customer, whether it be reaching out to them for the holiday season to find out how they're doing, whether it be a quarterly newsletter, whether it just be an email blast that you guys do on a quarterly basis. That is the key to staying in front of a seller that haven't listed yet, to making them remember that you were the one that they initially spoke to, that they want to talk to about listing their home. Build a relationship with a local home builder. When you have these kind of options, the buyers that you bring a home builder are a stronger buyer if they've accepted a quick buy option. It makes your relationship with a builder that much more interesting. Talk to your managing broker. See if you may be able to secure a room in the brokerage office, or maybe a free room at the local library, to do an informational seminar on immediate offer solutions for local home sellers. You guys are probably getting ready to do this. It's the end of the year. Are you sending out any sort of email blast and talking to your sphere of influence about these options that you have? But more importantly, because they trust you, because they've worked with you before, ask for referrals. Don't feel uncomfortable asking for that. Everyone does it. And if they trust you, why wouldn't they want to refer you to someone? Lots of other different things when you think about farming a new territory with your sales solutions, whether it be sending postcards to a new area, not spending any money and just doing door-to-door knocking with maybe some literature that you've printed up at the brokerage, seeing if you can get into a high rise where a client or friend lives in so that you can post a sign on the building's billboard, and thinking about the different areas that a lot of people in your community visit, whether it be a coffee house or some other area where you can personalize a flyer that is going to direct more sellers to you. So messaging. Don't go over, when you think about messaging, be as simple and as direct, but interesting as possible in talking to sellers. And it may be just as simple as an immediate cash offer or selling with certainty. Those are the two pieces that a lot of sellers are looking at now, that a lot of sellers Google when they're looking at these kind of options. When you're thinking about marketing or modifiable materials, we have a lot of stuff, but you guys have some things that are already prepared for you on your home sale agent portal so that you can easily use them. It's just important that you guys pick one. Pick something that you feel resonates with your consumers. Get it out there. Start practicing. Whether you just send to, a friend, one friend to see, what do you think about this? Does this resonate with you? Putting it out there. Jump in the water and start getting some sort of marketing out there so that you can get the information out that you have these kind of options. One thing that some of you guys may do, now this is a little different because not everyone does door-to-door talking to sellers, does any sort of phone calls, but think about a script that may be helpful in you utilizing talking about these options. And it could be as simple as, hi, my name is Jennifer. I'm a real estate agent with Home Sale. I live nearby and I want to talk to you about an easier way to sell your home. We have immediate offer solutions where you can review a cash offer without having to get your home market ready, not having to worry about showings, open houses. Do you have a little time and I can tell you more about this immediate cash offer option? And it could just be as simple as, Home Sale. We have always been the market leader in this area and we continue to be the market leader because we have these immediate offer solutions that only we have. I would love to get you some of these to look at. Do you want to hear more about it? It's really just as simple as that. And a lot of people in your brokerage have already done a lot of effective marketing with this. One that I'd like to show you guys, and I'm going to see if I can get this up on the screen here. This is Andrew, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. He's has a very successful YouTube channel, and he got a lot of information out there about this last year. I'm going to stop sharing this presentation so that I can get his commercial up here so that you guys can view it and see what Andrew had to say.
Big news in the real estate world recently. Zillow is going to stop their iBuyer program. Some of you guys didn't even know they were doing it. They'd come in and offer you a cash price for your home, take it down in 2 weeks. They stopped doing it. They lost billions of dollars. The day they stopped, you know who started? Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway will give you a cash offer on your house, no bullshit, clean offer. And if you take it, you can stay in the house for up to a year. And better yet, you can lock into that price and still say, hey, Andrew, you talk about sales negotiation and marketing. I like this number. See how much more you can get me. And boom, you're locked here so you can move forward. No matter what happens, you're good. And we can still go for top dollar. Berkshire Hathaway, always innovating. If you're interested in a cash offer on your house, talk to us. We're doing it better than anybody.
I don't think he could have said it any more succinctly. I don't think anyone in QuickBuy could have said that any better than Andrew said. He described every option there in less than 45 seconds. He was confident talking about it. He put it out there. He's letting the seller decide if one of those options is right for them. But more importantly, he's also reinforcing why he has this, why Home Sale has it, why you guys are still the market leader by having something like this. So I'm going to get up I have just a few more slides to show you guys with regards to this. Let's see here. Give me 1 second here. All right, one other thing that I wanted to show you now, in case any of you do want to spend or plan to spend a variety of money on any sort of marketing, this is one of our partners have done. Their mortgage on produced this small, inexpensive commercial for them to put, and they just have it on auto repeat on their Facebook channel. So this is something that's really interesting for you guys to be able to do in case you wanted to spend some money, do something a little more in depth to get the information out there that you have these options.
Looking for an immediate cash offer on your home? If you're like me, convenience is key. QuickBuy is the all-cash buying program that works directly with your agent. Enjoy the convenience of no home prep and no showing. In as little as 48 hours, qualified homes will have an immediate response. Close on your timeline in as little as 14 days. With QuickBuy Leaseback, the seller gets their proceeds and you're able to move when you are ready. Get in contact with your trusted Realty One Group agent today for an immediate cash offer.
And again, if you guys don't feel comfortable doing things like that, it could be just as simple as taking some of those social media posts and just putting them on your Facebook or Instagram page.
Looking for
other areas that you're able to utilize the marketing that you have. You can utilize that by promoting with your certification badge that you received after the first QuickBuy training program, sending out email announcements, or if you'd like to use some of our press releases and send out or write your own, you're welcome to do that. Inserting a QuickBuy flyer in your listing presentation, that's one of the easiest ways to do it. Sending a 4-email drip campaign to your contact list, and we have one already developed for you guys that you can copy and paste. Calling your sphere of influence and sharing your immediate QuickBuy offer solutions. Utilizing brokerage branded or QuickBuy marketing materials to either post on social media for free. You can do videos or e-cards as well too. And then again, going door to door and leaving a door hanger or flyer. And of course, let's not forget open houses, because a lot of our buyers that come into open houses don't have listing representation for their sale or haven't signed a listing agreement yet. So don't forget about those potential sellers too when you're talking about QuickBuy options. So what I'd like to wrap up with is the exciting agent awards that we want to offer any of you when we have a QuickBuy purchase. So what we want to offer you when you have a seller that accepts a QuickBuy option, you will be able to get $500 in funds once the home is sold that you can use for either a social media or direct mail postcards. We are going to give you both sets of digital artwork, so you can choose which one you want to use or if you want to do both. And we will refund you up to $500 in funds of what you would spend for that direct mail postcard or social media post. The second and the third home for a seller that we work with that elects a QuickBuy option, you are going to get $750 in funds to utilize to advertise the home that you were able to get a seller an instant option. And that's really the key to being able to say this home sold instantly, 0 cost to prepare, 0 days on market, 0 home hassles, and 0 showings. Ask me about those solutions. That is really the key to being able to offer all those solutions to a seller, to securing your position with that seller, and more importantly, securing the listing for them. So I hope I made this really clear to you guys today, staying relevant with the options that you have, generating your own leads, with building up your client list, and closing more listings because of all the solutions you have. Now, I know this is why you guys signed up for the class today, but I just want to put this on the screen again too, and thank Sherry so much for the testimonial she had. But she was able to use QuickBuy Lock this spring and this summer to secure 2 different listings. And even in the way the market was this year, the amazing market that it was for sellers, her sellers still wanted a little bit of security. They wanted a backup option just in case anything changed. Imagine we're kind of on the flip side right now with the way that the market is. there's going to be more and more sellers that are interested in having a backup option just in case something happens. So don't forget when you go out and talk to a seller about listing their home to take the quick buy option so that you can talk about them and you can secure the listing no matter what option those sellers elect. Now, I am going to go ahead and do a stop share just in case anyone has any questions. We can go ahead and go over them. But if not, I just want to reinforce that you guys that you're going to get an email from me later on. And if you have questions that you think of later, you'll have my information. Give me a call. And
Jen, there's some questions in the chat. Can you go through this, please?
I do. Let's see here. So someone's asking about Realty One. Realty One in Orlando does offer this program. So not Realty One in your area if there is one there. So just to give you a heads up on that, they're one of our offices in Orlando. How do you get a certification badge? You know what? I will go ahead and put that on the list of attachments that I'll send out to you guys today. So just in case you guys have gotten it and misplaced it, everyone's going to get a certification badge after today. And it's really easy to use that in any sort of email correspondence. I would just make sure that you put it underneath your home sale signature. You always want that to be first and foremost. And then that you could put underneath it just like you would any other sort of certification. The incentive has actually already started, and we have a number of agents in home sale that have had these transactions that have been given the opportunity and been given a lot of the different, whether it be postcard or social media posts to choose and decide which one they would like to use in getting out there and putting that marketing out there that they have sold instantly with that kind of option. Let's see. All right, I'm going through a bunch of questions here, so everyone just give me a second. Please in there. I have someone that's requesting the recording. I can definitely, the recording of the entire session, Jen Jones will have that as soon as we're done today. So I would reach out to her for that. If you're asking about Andrew's, I am sure I'm happy to give you Andrew's YouTube channel. He does some amazing advertising. He is just a great promoter out there. So I'll get you guys over that as well too, so you have a link to that. Okay, so I did have one question. What do we do with the leads when a prospect inquires directly on our website? We get a handful every year. We don't get a lot, but when I do get them, they go straight to Catherine and she distributes them through home sale for whatever agent is going to be in the area that that seller is in. Let's see here. So, and then I had a question. In the example for the net for the $225,000 property, were closing costs included in the quick buy program fee? Closing costs are not included. And that is something that we have, we've made a correction to with the policy because we realize that closing costs can vary quite a lot from area to area and county to county. So that's why when I mentioned that if you feel that your seller is going to be very interested in the total net and what that would look like with closing costs, that may be good to when you go out and take the offer, preparing that net sheet so that seller can have a clear idea of how their net would be adjusted with closing costs. Let's see, I got some other questions too. And someone's asking about when they get the slides. Jen Jones has a copy of these slides. So if you have any questions about them, again, with the recording, Jen will have a copy of all of this. Okay. I got a question. How long can a seller stay in the home when using a leaseback program? We do allow leaseback up to 500 days. And typically what we're seeing, because that's quite a lot, most sellers are looking at anywhere from 2 to 3 months to have that flexibility in their next home purchase, to have the flexibility to not have to move twice between their sale and their purchase. So imagine, the convenience that it offers a lot of sellers and not moving twice, they're not paying for movers twice. And then they're not having to worry about short-term housing or short-term storage as well too. So a lot of convenience is there to this kind of option may be the key to a seller being able to sell their home and making a really easy transition with their home purchase with you too. Let's see here. So then when do you receive the information to present to the seller? So when you submit all of the information on the QuickBuy app for the offers department, typically you are going to receive the offer, the contract, and all of that paperwork within about 1 to 2 business days after offer submission. And I would like to stress business days. We have limited coverage over the weekends. We're coming up to some holidays, so we're going to have very limited coverage on the holidays too. We like to make sure that the offers department is able to spend time with their friends and family as well. So when you guys have things that you're submitting over the holidays, please be mindful of that and think that if you'd like something before a certain timeline, if you could submit it as early as possible, that gives us the opportunity to be able to get it to you, to get to the seller in a reasonable amount of time. Let's see here. So I said, it looks like in previous training, the slide said to add quick buy at home sale to the team. And I know Jen is going to have some information on that. So definitely whenever a contract comes through, you do want to add quick buy at home sale to that email so that home sale is aware of everything that's going on with an offer and accepted options.
Yep, Jen, in case that helps, that reference, guys, was in terms of .loop. So you have your loop, you've started your paperwork, you upload the contract to .loop. The easiest way to get it to our team and Catherine's team who's managing that is to just add quickbuyathomesale.com as a team member on your loop so they can access your whole file and help you with that transaction. So Susan, that's for .loop specifically, but yes, if you're emailing anything back and forth, you can always CC them right on the email as well.
Great, thanks, Jen, and thanks for that clarification. We want to make sure that everything goes through the proper channels through home sale so that no one's left out of the loop so that we can keep things running as fast, as smoothly as possible with accepted options. It looks like I have two more questions, I think. Someone's asking about the home inspection and when that would occur and what happens if repairs are needed. So we do a home inspection just like any buyer would. It's not done until the contract is executed. What we are looking for and what I want to be specific about this is the more photos you put on the app, the better, because our offer is reflective of the finishes of the home, no matter if they're dated finishes, no matter if they are pristine museum quality finishes. We want as many photos as you can submit so that our offer is as accurate as possible. The inspection, just like it would be with any buyer, is looking to see if there are any potential big repair issues that would affect a buyer when you have the home listed for us. So we're going to waive as many of those issues as we can. For the issues we can't waive, we go back to the seller and we ask them either one, would they like to correct that repair before we purchase the home, before we close on the sale, or if they would not rather do that, we can adjust their net proceeds to account for the cost of that repair once we own the home. So again, these are items that think major repair issues, not leaky faucets, not loose baseboards, nothing like that. These are issues that affect a buyer's financeability and appraisability when you have it listed for us. And let's see here. Is quick buy program fee a percentage of the sale price? It definitely can be on average a percentage of the sale price, but I don't want to say that it's the same on every property because not every property is apples to apples. So we're going to evaluate every property based upon the recent closed sale comps and how each property compares to those closed sale comps. And that's going to determine what the percentage of the quick buy program fee ends up being. One thing that I would like to state though, that quick buy program fee, that percentage, if it's 10%, no matter what the percentage is, that is not what quick buy is pocketing. When we own the home, we have the same kind of costs that a typical seller would, from carrying costs to market ready prep to interest on the cost of the money that we took out for that. So we still have costs that a typical seller would have. We're typically looking at pocketing about 5%. That's about the percentage on a sale we're looking to keep the company up and running so that we can continue to make quick buy options for the consumers that you're working with. And I have a couple more questions here, I think. Is there an offer limit for homes? There is no upper price point limit, if that's what you mean about homes that we would make quick buy options to. Just keep in mind that it does need to be conforming. So $1 million home surrounded by other $1 million homes, that's conforming. $1 million home surrounded by $300,000 homes, that's going to fall in the quote unquote unique category, which makes something very hard to determine correct underwriting. And then that home is likely not going to qualify because it's hard to quantify what a typical buyer would pay for that home and it not being a typical home in that neighborhood. There is a floor on the value we allow into the program. So I just like to put that out there. Each home has to be valued over $100,000 in order to qualify for quick buy options. And then let's see here. And one agent has a question, is there a different process for current listings that are not selling? So one thing that I'd like to say, if a home is not selling, whether it be with you, whether it be with another agent, it's going to be hard for then you to sell it with QuickBuy as the owner. So this is the options that you want to mention and be proactive about mentioning to a seller before they list their home on the open marketplace. Offer the options to them ahead of time. Let them decide which one of those options is the best option. Again, on all of the QuickBuy paperwork that you get over with a contract, traditional listing is there because we know that's the option that the largest percentage of sellers are going to elect. But being able to offer a seller the options upfront before they list their home, that's the key to that success, their confidence in you as an agent. QuickBuy, when you guys get an offer over for a seller, one added bonus that a lot of agents don't think about, when a seller sees the contract before they list it on the open marketplace, they're giving them an idea of what they're potentially going to see an offer coming in when the home is listed with you. So it is helping you align the seller with the correct value of their home, therefore preventing them from being on the market longer than they would. We come in on the back end and we make an offer once a home is listed, that deteriorates the entire relationship that you have with your seller. You want to do this on the front end before the home is listed to reinforce your position with them, not to deteriorate it. So just kind of to give you a little summation on that. Lots of great questions there, you guys. Any other questions that you guys may have, or that one of these questions of another agent might brought up for you? Nope. Well, I have a lot of information that I'm going to get over to you guys later today with some links. Jen's going to get the link to the training session that we did today and the PowerPoint. But if there's anything else after you get information from me that you don't have, please feel free to email me or call me. I'm happy to help you guys with any other items that you need, but also just go over things with you so that you feel successful using and also marketing these options with your sphere of influence and your consumers. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for joining today. I really appreciate it. Have a great afternoon.